If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
We estimate we can cut the average family's premium by about $2,500 per year.
The plan will not add to our deficit. The middle class will realize greater security, not higher taxes.
So there's the trip down memory road there. Talk about promises made, promises not kept. Democrats, they want to debate band-aiding the broken program with more taxpayer subsidies. But Republicans, they are trying to come up with an alternative solution to the so-called Affordable Care Act. We're going to bring in now one lawmaker who is helping lead that charge, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy, also the chairman for the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. Great to have you here, Senator. Thank you so much. I want to start here, though, because you did make some news earlier, last week. Before we get to the healthcare coverage, I want to ask you to clarify for our viewers, and I did see you on a different Sunday show today talking about the vaccines. You said that it was deeply troubling that the Centers for the Disease Control and Prevention removed language from its website refuting the theory that vaccines are linked to autism. What's your stance today?
Yeah, vaccines are not linked to autism by any credible scientist or doctor. But talk to your physician. President Trump, by the way, agrees that vaccines are safe. When he had his physical, he got a flu and COVID vaccine. I want America to be healthy. I don't want a child to die from measles, which can be prevented with the vaccine, as 2 children died in West Texas earlier this year, or a pregnant woman who lost her child when she was exposed to someone who was not vaccinated for measles. Get your child vaccinated. If you have concerns, speak with your physician. But by the way, President Trump agrees as well. Vaccines are safe. They don't cause autism. That's just a figment of somebody's, imagination. But talk to your doctor.
What is the relationship like today with the Secretary of Health, RFK Jr.?
We communicate regularly. And he sent me a very nice text about an issue going on 2 days ago. So we communicate again regularly. But I'll say once more, vaccines do not cause autism. That's so clear. And so please, if you have any questions, discuss it with your doctor.
All right, let's move on here now to the Affordable Care Act. Now, we know it doesn't work, and Republicans right now are trying to come up with a solution. We've got some deadlines looming. What would be a better solution to this? Clearly, both sides agree that it's broken, but the Democrats, they want to keep subsidizing this. Why do you think that is, and what would be a better alternative?
So John, let's just set a context. We got to give power to the patient. Right now, insurance companies get all the money, and they take 20% of that for overhead and profit. So instead of profit for insurance companies, let's give power to the patient. How do we do that? Well, the Obamacare extended premium tax credits would have cost $26 billion this coming year. Instead of giving $26 billion to the insurance companies, if we give it to the patient, and we give enough for their premiums that know that everyone can afford their premiums, but we ask them to purchase a cheaper policy with a higher deductible. But we take the extra money, we give them a health savings account, and they can pay their deductible. So overall, the cost of premium plus deductible will be lower under a Republican plan. And the patient has the power to pay for the health care she knows she needs, as opposed to seeking permission from the insurance company. Can she get that health care? Maybe yes, maybe no. Power to the patient.
Why do you think the Democrats will continue to push through this Obamacare that they know it doesn't work? And are they willing to negotiate with the Republicans? It almost feels that they're adamant that this is the only way. Obamacare is the only way.
So I've spoken to several Democrats who are actually very open to this. President Trump, he's all on board. So I say to my Democratic colleagues, if you want something that Mike Johnson will bring up in the House of Representatives to vote on, then think about the plan I'm advancing. By the way, it's not a Republican plan, not a Democratic plan. It's an American plan. But it's very much in line with what President Trump wants to do. And by the way, it actually fulfills the vision. I love those greatest hit clips of Obama. Obama was totally wrong. We actually fulfill, though, that which he promised. We lower premiums. We give money to pay for deductibles. We give power to the patient. That should be an American plan, not an R, not a D, but an A plan.
Yeah, I picked those clips just for you, Senator. I knew you were coming on, and you'd have some fun with those. Let's pivot real quickly here. Changes being made to America's classrooms. President Trump and Education Secretary Linda McMahon, they're looking at to make good here on this promise to dismantle the Education Department. They're shuffling some of the agency's duties to other arms of the federal government. Here's a look at some of the notable examples of that. We have it right there. What, in your opinion, do you think that the Education Department, it hasn't really been relevant? Do you think and the government shutdown really showed that as well?
Well, the Education Department, the state of American secondary and primary education over the last 20 years has been not very good. 40% of children read below basic on reading scores in the 4th grade. Below basic, they cannot meet the minimum criteria needed to read. 40% of our children. We can do better than that, but we've not been doing better than that. I will applaud the president. We got to do something different. You got to break some eggs. This guy will break eggs. My goal as the chairman of the committee is how do we address the problem of reading? 20% of those watching have dyslexia. The federal government has done very little to address dyslexia. Let's address dyslexia, which affects 20% of our population, and then the reading scores start to rise because we're actually treating the kids where they are as opposed to putting them in one box. I applaud the president. There's more to do. I'm committed to doing it.
Want to get to this because on the other side, you've got Senator Elizabeth Warren responding to this. This is what she writes in a statement. The Trump administration is waging an illegal assault on public school kids instead of working to lower costs for Americans. The Trump administration is hell-bent on punishing underserved students. Your reaction to her comments there, Senator?
Underserved students. Let's just look at children of color. I forget what the percentage is, but we spoke about 40% reading below grade level. Among children of color, I don't know, it's like 50 to 80%. It's incredible. Those kids have been trapped in failing schools. Yeah. Republicans are committed to giving that child's mother or father the ability to choose the school where their child can flourish, not the one where they're stuck in. Now, Republicans have been committed to giving the parent the power, just like we give the patient the power. That's the way to go. Let mama and daddy make the decision. By the way, my wife and my daughter invest in my grandson's education, spending lots of time to make sure that he does well in school. That's what parents do. Give the parent the power, not some teachers union that wants to stick a kid someplace he can never get out of. Yeah. Republicans are about parents having the power.
Yeah, a lot of my friends who have children, they say the same thing. The parents, they want the power to make those decisions for their children. Senator Bill Cassidy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. Happy Sunday to you.
Thank you, Joe.